All right, I'm here with Tommy and the destruction from his speed run. All right, so I've already done a little look at this, and I'm going to show you guys right now just how bad this is. All right, I brought Tommy's cylinder out here in the sunlight so that you can appreciate the nuclear level meltdown he had. This is the most aluminum I have ever seen. I'm sure some of you have seen more, but holy cow. We're actually going to have to get out the muriatic acid and clean this before we can even accurately measure it. But yeah, this is a Genesis II cylinder here. Cylinder reed, all kinds of extra ports, and goes on an Indy 650 base. Thought you might want to see the piston too. Holy cow, burned right through the top ring. This is smeared and locked in and bad all the way around, and you can see, well, this top ring, it looks like the gap might be in the right spot. The bottom ring, the gap is way over here by my thumbnail, not where the pin should be. The pin's over here. So that thing came around, as Tommy says. It spun. But holy cow. Yeah, that's a mess of lean going on there. Holy cow. All right, that's ridiculous, isn't it? Well, let's play the clip of the run for everybody, or maybe I'll put the thing up in the corner. It'll be in that corner. And we'll send them back to that speed run video so they can check it out. But the long and short of it is, most of that missing aluminum seems to have ended up on the cylinder wall, although there is a fair amount in the exhaust port, and it's actually changed the shape of the port in one corner. It started to close it off. So what we're going to do is we're going to dissolve it out with muriatic acid. That's what you do. And it's going to be a slow and painful process. I thought I'd set the cylinder in this, but that's not big enough. So I'm going to find a bigger bucket to set it in to kind of contain the acid. I'm going to put on gloves. I'm going to put on long sleeves. I'm going to wear the full face shield. Everybody else is going to keep a ways from it. And nobody's putting their beer on the table while we do this process.
Added fizz.
Yeah, nobody needs that hydrochloric fizz in their beer. So let's get at it. We got to get this done so we can even measure it and see what other pistons Tommy has that may or may not work.
Yep. Yeah, so lean is not the way to go. Spark plugs are cheaper than pistons, so be fat.
We don't know why it went lean.
Yeah. The other two were on the verge, and this was the cylinder that the head gasket went. Maybe
we're definitely gonna pressure check the motor, so we'll find out.
Yep.
All right, we're gonna fix this today though, or make a good shot at it. I don't know if we'll bore and hone it. Probably not. Maybe in one video. We'll find out. Stick around and find out. Does he bore and hone it, or doesn't he? You see that? I just stuck my thumb in the exhaust port and pulled out that aluminum sliver. Maybe I'll try a little scrape and see if any more of it's going to come off easily. Scraping's better than acid, although in the end, you still need to do the acid for the final cleanup.
Oh, look at her go.
Yeah, and then it just washes away.
Just dissolves the aluminum right out. Won't touch the cast iron. So we're moving along. You can see it's got more places that are not foaming. Boy, this outer edge right here is like sharp.
That's
though.
Where it was.
But it's not foaming. But we're getting the aluminum out. We got to get the aluminum out because it'll clog up the hone. It's really bad on the hone. You know how bubbly and messy this stuff gets?
Mm-hmm.
Yoo-hoo.
All right, no matter where I go, I'm not getting any bubbles. Not down around the port, nothing. So, oof, smells lovely.
So this right here is super sharp. It's not sharp over here. So something nothing bad happened there, and it's kind of undercut there too. I'm going to deburr this, and then we're going to run a hone in it and see what kind of pattern the hone makes on that cylinder, because I don't know what else to do. This is goofy, and there's a lot of strange stuff going on. There's a lot of weird streaks and stripes, and like, what's this? What are these right here that we're looking at? I've never seen that before. That's really weird stuff. So I've never, you know, normally when I take a pattern on something, it's ring and pinion gears on a car. I've never had to take a pattern on a cylinder before, but I think we're going to have to. All right. Well, look at that through there.
Simple deburr tool.
See, it doesn't do anything the rest of the way around. Right there. You can see
Be a little aluminum still that didn't come out.
Nope, quit foaming.
No.
That's clearly cast
Yes, it
iron.
is.
But it's almost like we have an undercut right there. Well, it's going away as I deburr it, though.
So it might have been there.
No, it might have happened from one of the two issues. Okay, I think I can run a hone through that now. But before, that was going to tear up the hone before. All right, hone time, I guess. What else are we going to do? All right, so here's my Sun AN series hone. She's an oldie but a goodie. And I'm just setting it up for a little bit of tension. That might be a little much. All right, so I got my drill, got it set on the screw on a fairly low torque. Really low torque. Won't even turn it. All right. And the pizza's done. And that should be enough to make a pattern. There we go. Well, Tommy, it's not quite a catastrophe. I mean, it's definitely marked up.
Yep. Now that it's clean, now we can check the bore.
Now we can see what size it is, and I may end up setting this up in the mill and honing it in the mill, which would be doing that later when you guys aren't here. But yeah, now we can check the bore.
Yep.
But first things first, the pizza dinged. You see it red? There we go. Now we're filming. All right, Lonnie's here being camera guy. So Lonnie loves to learn this kind of stuff. So Lonnie,
Yep.
I'm using my micrometer here to measure this, and it's got to be just the perfect slip fit. It can't be loose, can't be tight. Just perfect, which that is.
You have the right.
Well, if it's not there, it'll be loose.
Oh, okay.
You can rock it, and if you rock it this way and it gets loose, then no good.
Okay, got it.
So I'm trying to rock it every which way, and then just go for a slight drag, and then I lock it.
Okay.
And then I can feel that it's pretty freaking close. I'm not springing. It doesn't take much force. I'm not springing the caliper open or anything.
Okay.
So I don't really care what this says,
Okay, why is that?
because I'm using this to transfer this measurement to the dial bore gauge. So let me go get the dial bore gauge, and we'll be right back.
All right.
All right, so what I got down here, there's this little button right here that gets pressed in, and when you press it in, pull back a little bit, the needle moves.
Okay.
And so what we're gonna do, we're gonna figure out where 0 is on this, and it's like right about there. And I have to unlock this and run the dial up there, pretty close, but eventually I fiddle around with it and we get to 0. And it's a little fiddly. And it's even harder to do on camera. But what you want is that highest reading should be right there, 0. Really close. Within a couple 10,000ths. Now we're going to go over to the cylinder.
Okay.
So this is going to show us how much bigger the cylinder is than that. So, all right, so the cylinder is like 6 thou bigger. So Tommy, your cylinder is like right on. There aren't very many areas you can measure at in here. It's a little bigger down there. Probably because I'm falling into the port. So this cylinder is so full of holes we can hardly measure it, folks. But that is more like 8 thou clearance down there. As we get to the top of the bore, it's a little tighter, which is odd. It's at like 6 thou. Right here, it's at like 5.5. So, Tommy, we got to look up what your clearance is supposed to be.
Yeah, I thought it was something like 6, but yeah,
Well,
we'll
if
look
it's-
it up and double check.
If it's 6, it's there, and we'd just be cleanup honing it. And we may take another thou or 2 off just to clean it up a little better, put a bit of crosshatch. Yeah, we got a little couple stains showing. But it's really close, Tommy. It's really close. So we're going to go to the Google machine, folks, and look up what a Wiseco piston clearance should be for like a 3-inch on a liquid cooled.
Yep.
All right, getting ready to hone out Tommy's cylinder. Let's get rid of all these chowder marks. You can still see them in there. So as you can see, I have the centering device. I've got the cylinder more or less centered. It doesn't have to be perfect because the hone here really has a U-joint and it floats a lot. So the next step is to load the hone up with stones and make a couple passes, evaluate. The goal here is to take off the least material we can while cleaning up the cylinder. So let's see how that goes. All right, so before I turn on the mill and start spinning this, and by the way, you don't need a mill. You could actually do this with a hand drill if you could hold the cylinder securely. But I give her a turn or two and make sure I'm happy with the setup and how square everything is, and it looks good. So we're going to start it on slow speed and give it a few strokes. All right, that seems too slow and not enough pressure, so dial up the pressure. Give her some more RPMs up here. All right, let's pull the hone out and check the crosshatch pattern. All right, cylinder did not clean up from that. As you can see, there's still plenty of marks, and it's hard to read on the crosshatch pattern, but it looks like I need to go up and down a bit faster. That's my guess. Well, we're getting somewhere. The bad parts are smaller every time I look at it, so that's a good thing. Almost fixed over there. Still ugly at the exhaust port, though. Getting there. All right, I could actually see that mark in the cylinder from where I was standing, and I just watched it go away. So that's it. That's the minimum removal of material. We're going to measure it now. All right, so I got the dial bore gauge set up. Do this a bit more so I have a little swing. Wow. All right, people, that's not going to fly. Tommy is in for an overbore. By the time I get it cleaned up, it's at 12.5 thou. 12 thou. That is way too much to run. Well, that's life. I mean, that cylinder was a disaster. And I can't believe I took that much off with the fine stone that fast. But that's life. Guess I'll show you how wobbly this piston is. Look at that. I mean, that's going to wobble around and shatter the skirts. And, well, you can see right there. I didn't even get full cleanup. So I just talked to Tommy, and he's going to bring out a 20 thou over piston, and we'll fit that up. Tommy stopped by and dropped off 2 more pistons. According to Tommy's caliper measurements, this is 2.967, 2.983, and 2.985. That's a caliper. It's kind of a guess. But we're going to measure up this one right here, and we're going to compare it to the bore. Once again, I don't really care what the actual size of this is. I only care about the difference between the bore size and the piston. In other words, I only care how much clearance we got. And that's going to help steer me on the right course here. Do I put in the coarse stones and go for it and take off a bunch of material at once? The medium stones, or maybe I stick to the fine stones? Well, we'll know when we see how much more material I got to take off. All right, I got this bore gauge set up on Tommy's new piston, and I can tell you from setting it up that it was almost exactly, it was 20 thousandths over. And you could see we've got an 11 thousandths interference fit. So that means I need to take off darn near 15 thousandths on this thing. So definitely going to the coarse stones. All right, that was a lot of pulling on the handle, but we're right there at 5 thou clearance. I'm going to pop in the fine stones just to give it a bit of a finish and not take anything off, and we'll call it good. All right, last couple swipes with the fine stone really didn't change the reading, which is good. Didn't want to adjust it anymore. There's your crosshatch. I don't know how it's coming out in the picture. Kind of hard to see. I was running out of steam at the end. It isn't quite a 45-degree angle, but it'll work. It's 2-stroke after all. All right, here's the piston, and you can see it fits, and it fits about right. It's got some clearance. It's not too much. And I still don't know if the crosshatch, how that's going to look on the video, but it looks pretty good to the naked eye. It's going to work for Tommy. That's for sure. All right, so we're just wrapping up Tommy's video on the cylinder, except Tommy promises that he's going to send me a video clip of the motor running again once it's in.
Yes, I said I would try. That wasn't a promise. But hopefully in the next week, it'll find its way into the shop. And yeah.
So there's a few things to show you. So here's the original piston, and it's
Original size piston.
Yeah,
Yes.
because it's 20. Now it's 20 over. So here's the one we sized it for, and it goes in, but it's tight. So, like I said, it's 5 thousandths clearance, which ought to be good. Tommy claims this one's a little bigger. I don't know. I didn't even measure it. I went for the one Tommy said was smaller. But we went for 5 thousandths clearance because it's a little bigger than the stock clearance for an Indy 650 or a TXL. But these are forged pistons, so I went to the top end of the stock clearance and added a thou. 5's fine. Truthfully, I run TXLs at 6, and they're happy. So, anyways, we got to talk about the care and feeding of the cylinder now, Tommy. So we had to go way over bore, which means that every port in here is now razor sharp. I'm sure you felt that.
Yeah.
Just because we've cut them. So you got to go around with a little honing stone, like a round stone that can get into the corners, and you got to deburr all these ports or they'll chew up your rings, maybe even the piston skirt. And then when you're done with that, you got to go down to your laundry tub, and you got to get your Tide or whatever else you use that's like Tide, and wash this thing out with detergent, because that's the only way to get the grit out of the cross hatching. Okay?
Yep.
All right. So, and then after that, before you assemble the motor, wipe it down with oil lightly and build your motor as normal. So there you go. So you guys watching, it's not the machinist's responsibility to, deburr these ports and chamfer them slightly. That's your responsibility. Most machinists are doing car stuff and they don't have ports in the wall like these do. So just consider that, and it's up to you to make sure you did that right, not the machinist. If you want the machinist to do it, you better discuss it before he gives you a price on honing your cylinder, because that's a lot of extra work. All right. Any questions, Tommy?
Nope. I know what's ahead of me now.
Well, you built a few hundred motors, so it ought to be fine.
Yeah.
All right, so
now, I'm going to fatten it up because
yeah,
spark plugs are cheaper than pistons.
you're going to go full on blubbery and then back it down?
Yeah.
Just like 4-stroke blubbery,
Yeah.
oil coming out of the exhaust.
It'll make the full 1,000 feet then, maybe.
It might.
Before it follows a plug.
Well, that's not my problem until you need to go 40 thou over. Then it becomes my problem.
Then we'll be getting a hold of Weisco.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for the work.
Yep, no problem. All right, so thanks to everybody for watching. Hit subscribe. Make sure you're still subscribed if you think you're subscribed, because YouTube unsubscribes people. I don't know why. Huge thanks to everybody that gave us a super thanks. Everybody that's given us a super thanks in about the last week at the time I'm editing this, which is not necessarily the time you're watching it. It could be weeks earlier that I'm editing it. Anyways, that's who you're seeing on the screen. And huge thanks to the patrons. Patrons, we are very grateful for you helping us stay afloat and keep things going during the off season. Thanks for the beer and the pizza and just the support in general. Really appreciate you guys. And if you're wondering what the patron is, it's a membership, much like joining a YouTube membership, except for it's offsite on Patreon. And for a small donation, the patrons get to watch all the videos early. They get to watch them ad-free. They get patron-only posts, which could be videos or pictures or just comments about what I'm up to or what the guys are doing. And what else? That's about it. So really appreciate you patrons.
Maybe some updates on where we might be,
Yeah, that kind of thing.
coming up.
Where we're going, what we're going to do. So appreciate you guys, and we'll see you out at the swap meets.
All right, here we go. Digger, the junkyard dog. Take 3. All right, it's up and running. All we need is some ice now.